Hello and welcome back. So today in this session, we are going to focus on the question which is known as the short answer questions. Alright. So short answer questions are what? You need to answer that particular question in the word limit which is mentioned in the instruction. Okay. So exactly the words again will be utilized, will be used as per the passage. So let's begin. So the instruction is answer the questions below. Choose no more than 3 words from the passage for each answer. So that means you are not supposed to exceed the word limit of 3 words. Okay. So within 3 words you need to answer the question. It's not like you're forming the entire sentence. So for example, I'll just tell you what I'm trying to say. So the first question is, what factor decides where the dingo can live in the desert? Okay, so you're not supposed and you're not expected to write the entire sentence the way we wrote in our school and college days. Like the factor which decides where dingo can live in a desert is something like this, whatever the answer is. You are not supposed to write the entire sentence. Okay, you're supposed to write this answer only in the word limit which is mentioned in the instruction. That is not more than 3 words. Okay, so remember this. Alright. Now, so these are the questions. So in this passage we have 8 questions which we need to answer. So let's begin. So the title of the passage is The Dingo, an Australian Pest. That is the reading passage. Alright. So the first question is, what factor decides where the dingo can live in a desert? Second, which physical characteristic distinguishes a dingo from a domesticated dog? Third, what term refers to a group of wild dogs? Fourth, what determines the vastness of the area occupied by the dingoes? Fifth, which landscape features are used by the group to remain connected? Sixth, what animal might have been wiped out due to the dingo? Seventh, what has been made to protect the livestock from the dingoes? 8th, what do many people regard the dingo as? So now that we have understood that this passage is something related to the dogs, right? And something specific to dingo. So let's figure it out. So what is this dingo about? It is already mentioned that it's an Australian pest, right? It's an Australian animal. So let's figure out whether it's a dog or something else. So now focusing on the first question, what factor decides where the dingo can live in a desert? So that we know that now we know that the dingoes, they live in deserts and how it is decided that where they will be living. So let's start with the first paragraph. So the origins of dingo are obscure and they arrived between this year. So this is what is their arrival. Okay, so that is what is the numbers what we are just underlining. And then they believe they were brought here on rafts and they came with the Indonesian or the South Asian fishermen. Okay, so this is how the animals, this particular dingo, they came to Australia. Then the dingo is found all over Australia. So probably here in this paragraph we might find the answer, because this is where it is mentioned that dingoes are found all over Australia, from harsh deserts to lush rainforest. The highly adaptable dingo is found in every habitat and every state of Australia except Tasmania. In deserts, access to drinking water determines where the animal can live. That is what is asked, right? Where the dingo can live in a desert. So in a desert, dingo can live where they have access to drinking water, right? So this is what is the answer. So now you will tell me that these are 4 words, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Correct? So what is happening over here? You can just mention that drinking water, that is also fine. If you are writing drinking water, that is also fine. And if you are writing access to drinking water, so this particular word is not accounted. Okay? So they're just counting the main keywords, that is access to drinking water. So this will become 1, 2 and 3 words. Fair enough? And this is where you got the answer. Clear? The next one. Which physical characteristic distinguishes a dingo from a domesticated dog? So now Moving further to the next question. So here they have mentioned that purebred dingo numbers in the wild are declining as men encroaches the deeper and deeper wilderness, that is the forest. Dingo is different from the modern dog in several ways. It does not bark. It has a different gait and its ears are always erect. So what is the difference, main difference between a dingo and a normal modern dog? Okay, so what is the physical characteristic they are talking about? Right, so the physical characteristic are the erect ears, right? So his posture or his sound, that is the bark, is not asked. They are asking about the physical characteristic. So that is what is mentioned, that the erect ears, that is what is the difference. Correct? So this is your second answer. Moving to the next one. What term refers to a group of wild dogs? So what are a group of wild dogs called as? So that is mentioned in the paragraph. So many of you must be aware that a group of wild dogs are called as packs. So let's figure out whether it's given in the passage or not. So in its natural state, the dingo lives either alone or in a small group. So yes, so probably we might get the answer, that is they live alone or they live in small groups, unlike many other wild dog species which may form packs. So the wild dog species, they form packs. That is what is the answer. Right? Now the fourth one. What determines the vastness of the area occupied by the dingoes? So how do they determine that, okay, this particular area is so vast, and how are they able to accommodate over there? So the dingoes, they have a clear defined territory. They are protect from other dingoes. They are shared with the dingoes, and the size of the home territory varies according to the food supply, right? So their home territory, that is the area which is occupied by the dingoes, it is always varied with the food supply, then how much food they are getting, right? So that is what is the basic thing, that is what is the basic survival, right? The next one. Which landscape features are used by the group to remain connected? So which landscape features? So here also you are getting a hint that they are asking a plural form, they are not asking you singular form. They are asking at least 2 or more than 2, right? Okay. So the size of the home territory varies according to the food supply. Dingoes hunt mainly at night. Groups are controlled by dominant male. Members of the group maintain contact by marking rocks and trees within the territory and by howling, particularly in the breeding season. So how do they remain connected, right? So when the area is so large, and how are they remaining connected? Which landscape features, it is helping them? So what are they doing? They are marking rocks and trees, right? So this is how it is helping them to remain connected. Okay, this is where the rock is, so this particular dingo will be over here. So this is how their sign languages, right? So your answer is marking rocks and trees. And if you're mentioning only rocks and trees, that would also work out. Again, marking rocks and trees are 4 words, but as mentioned, the conjunction and is not calculated, is not accounted. So your answer will be correct. It is 3 words. The sixth one. What animal might have been wiped out due to the dingo? So it is mentioned that which animal or what type of animal had been wiped out. That is, they became extinct because of dingo. So let's see which animal has gone extinct because of dingo. So the dingo diet is mentioned in this particular paragraph, right? So moving further, what all things they ate, and the mammals, which all animals they had consumed and all those things. So the dingo is thought to have contributed to the mainland extinction of the thylacine through increased competition for food. So dingo survived, and the animal that was known as thylacine, it became extinct because both these animals had increased competition for food, because obviously they were limited mammals and no other appetite they were able to consume. So this animal, that is thylacine, has become extinct because of dingo. That is what is mentioned in the paragraph. Okay. Now moving to the next question. What has been made to protect the livestock from the dingoes? So what has been made? What is made so that the livestock will be protected from the dingo. So dingo is considered to be an intelligent animal. It is not more dangerous to man than any other feral dog. The natural prey of the dingo is a small mammal and there's all these birds. But with the introduction of white settlement, they became such a menace to sheep, calves and poultry that measures had to be taken in an attempt to control them. So how were they controlled? With the use of dog-proof fences. Okay, so this is how they were protected. And one more thing, the words which are hyphenated, they are considered to be one word. Okay, so even if in other answers, in other passages, if you are getting a hyphenated word, so that is considered to be a one word. Okay, it's not one and two words, it is entirely one word. Okay, now the eighth one, what do many people regard the dingo as? So what is dingo regarded as? So let's see. So the dingo started breeding when they were age of 2 and they became the dominant members. They breed only once in a year, and this is how, you know, on an average they are able to litter 4 to 5 pups are born, and both the parents take part in raising the pups. So this is how about the family, how they raise their family and how it has been taken care of. It's about that. The next one, the wild dingoes are wary of humans and they do not attack unless provoked. So when do the dingoes attack? Unless and until they are not provoked, they do not attack. Dingoes can be kept as pets and that can be obtained at a very young age. So even when they are raised, they never seem to lose the instinct for killing poultry or small animals. So this is what is their natural characteristic, we can say. Dingoes and domestic dogs are interbred freely, resulting in very purebred southern or eastern Australia. So this is threatening the dingo's ability to survive as a separate species. Public hostility is another threat to the dingo. Because it takes some livestock, the dingo is considered by many to be a pest. So many of them consider dingo as a pest because why? Because it is harming the livestock. So that is why the answer will be pest. Okay. So this is how we are supposed to find the answers for the short answer questions. So as mentioned, you are supposed to write the same word which is given in the passage. You cannot change the wordings. Okay. So based on the wordings only, that will help you to locate the answer, and also the exact answer will be approached. Okay. So this is how we are answering the short answer questions. So as mentioned, you are not supposed to write the entire sentence. You are just supposed to write the exact answer, what is expected, and always remember to read the instruction first and follow the instructions. So while, you know, just going through the passage and answering the questions and under stress, don't forget that, okay, the instruction is mentioned only for 3 words or only 4 words or only 5 words. Keep a tab on that as well. Okay. All right. So now let's solve the second passage. So this passage, the title for this passage given is The Pursuit of Knowledge. Okay. And the instruction read as, answer the questions below. Use no more than 4 words from the passage for each answer. That means you are not supposed to extend the word limit beyond 4 words. So the first question, how does the writer describe people's inability in the modern world to use the knowledge that they can obtain? What is the desire to collect things described as? Third, according to the author, what has the world turned into? Fourth, what are the consequences in the workplace of moving large amounts of raw data around? Alright, so let's start answering the questions. This is the first one. How does the writer describe people's inability in the modern world to use the knowledge that they obtain? So here we get the answer. So it is not the first paragraph, that is the passage A. What is it talking about? Paragraph A. It is talking about that it's according to the great English lexicographer Samuel Johnson. His knowledge is of 2 kinds. So they have just introduced Samuel Johnson over here. Then in the B paragraph, at the time of the European Renaissance, which spanned 14th, 16th and 16th century. So this is what is mentioned. Then we can just scan through the message paragraph, that the example of Lupus Ferrer's search for the Aristotle or Fortunatus in the 9th century. All this is not required. So what are they asking? They are asking you that describe the people's inability in the modern world to use the knowledge that they obtain. Okay. So where is the knowledge about the human world mentioned? We need to figure that first. So the C paragraph is talking about Renaissance man and how the expansion of knowledge had occurred, right? And then yet because of the ever expanding and increase of human knowledge and all these things happened, it is not surprising to see people overwhelmed by the unlimited stream of information. And then there are Johnson words, but we need to add some dimension to the dictum. People need to be able to live the knowledge they acquire and not just know it or know where to find it. Our deficiency in this regard is perhaps the most singular failure of the modern information age. Right? So where are we lacking? That is what is our inability as a person, as a human being. What is our inability in the modern world? That is considered to be the most singular failure. Right? So again, it's not more than 4 words and we are giving them the exact 4 words, though this particular word is not accounted though, but still we have not extended the limit. And the answer is mentioned as the most singular failure. That is what is the deficiency. That is what is the writer is writing, that a person's inability is because of the most singular failure. That is what is mentioned. Right? Moving to the second question, what is a desire to collect things described as? So here we finish this particular paragraph, right? So we have to move to the next one, that is E. So let's see. So what is a desire to collect things called as? So acquisitiveness is a natural human instinct. Children collect cards of footballers or whatever is the latest fad. Stamps, coins and books are targets for children and adult collectors. So what is a desire it is called? It is considered to be a natural human instinct. It is described as. They are not asking you the terminology. If it was the terminology asked, then obviously the answer will be acquisitiveness. Right? But it is mentioned that what is a desire to collect things described as? It is described as a natural human instinct. So these words are taken exactly. That is what is acquisitiveness known as. Alright. Okay. Now the third one. According to the author, what has the world turned into? So let's figure it out. The desire to gather knowledge is nothing new. What is astonishing is that in which the people treat the knowledge that they have collected. If it is as if the collection were an end to itself, and herein lies the great deception. We have turned the world into a large machine of information, a veritable vortex into which we all are being inexorably sucked. So according to the author, what the world has turned into? It has turned into a large machine of information. You can write this words also, a large machine of information machine, or machine of information, a vortex, or a veritable vortex. All these are considered to be correct. Okay. Now we are not extending the word limit, that is the 4 words, right? And the answer is given as the way it is mentioned. Right? So what is a large machine of information called? It is considered to be called as a veritable vortex. Correct? Now the fourth one, what are the consequences in the workplace of moving large amount of raw data around? So what is the large amount of raw data called as? So people were away amassing raw data, that is what is mentioned, raw data we were finding, right? So laboring under the misapprehension and the movement of information from one place to another, we should hardly be surprised that as this becomes apparent, disillusionment and stress in the workplace arc become sadly the all too common consequences. So what are the consequences they are mentioning about the large amount of raw data? That is disillusionment and stress. They are considered to be the consequences in the workplace because of the large amount of raw data which is around. Right? So this is the answer. Fair enough. Now moving to the fifth question. So let's, okay. So we had only 4 questions over here. Fine. So obviously there is no point of reading the fifth paragraph also, rather than investing time in that, right? So I hope it is clear enough that how to answer the short answer questions, right? And it's quite simple enough. Okay. All right. So as per the pattern what we are following, we will be revising the question which was done in the previous session. Okay. Now the question we did in the previous session was sentence completion. So now based on the same passage, there are sentence completion questions for you. So let's begin. Complete the sentences below. Use no more than 4 words from the passage to complete each blank space. So here again the instruction is telling us that we are not supposed to use more than 4 words. Okay. So now the first one. Samuel Johnson was an dash. He was what? So we need to figure that out. Renaissance man supposedly possessed all dash. The spread of knowledge changed with the all important dash. According to the writer, today's information man knows more than dash. The standing of the modern educated man has been diminished by dash. Sixth one, the polymath of the Renaissance is described as dash. And the seventh one, in today's world, people are weighed down by the endless dash. So let's begin. So the first one, Samuel Johnson was an dash. So who was Samuel Johnson? So we have his name in the first paragraph itself, Samuel Johnson, and he was a great English lexicographer, right? So that is what he was. It's mentioned an, right? It is already mentioned that we are using the article an. So obviously the word great won't come over here. So we need to start with a vowel word. So obviously the answer will be English lexicographer, and we cannot write great English lexicographer. It is not was an great English lexicographer. That is obviously wrong, right? So the correct answer will be English lexicographer. Fair enough? Now, second question, Renaissance man supposedly possessed all human knowledge. So let's find out where is this answer. They are talking about Renaissance man. So let's see where is the introduction about the Renaissance man. At the time of the European Renaissance, which spanned the 14th, 15th and 16th century, it was considered possible for the educated, well-read man, the so-called Renaissance man. So an educated, well-read man in the 14th, 15th and 16th century was called as the Renaissance man, and he possesses the sum total of human knowledge. So he possessed all human knowledge. So here again the word preceding is all. So we cannot say all means what? It is sum total, right? Everything is included. It includes what? It includes human knowledge. That is what is mentioned in the paragraph also, right? Okay. Now the third one. The spread of knowledge changed with the all important dash. So how did the spread of knowledge change? So let's begin. So then there were several important factors, the paucity of books in the circulation at that time, the difficulty, the need, and this example is given wherein in the 9th century it was repeated again and again throughout the Latin West until the momentous advent of printing in the middle 15th century. So what happened in the 15th century? In the middle of 15th century, there was an advent of printing. So the spread of knowledge changed when printing was introduced. Advent means it was introduced, it was initiated, right? Invented, we can say. So the wordings exactly will be advent of printing. Correct? Next one. According to the writer, today's information man knows more than dash. So this paragraph is already over here. Let's move to the next one. So what does today's information man knows more than whom? So that is what is mentioned. So the C paragraph is starting with the word Renaissance man. It is talking rapidly left behind by the development and the knowledge, expansion of knowledge that flowed through Europe via the medium of movable type. In today's world scenario, the most well-read individual whom we could legitimately call information man or Homo sapiens, would certainly be considerably more knowledgeable than the Renaissance man. So, who is considered to be today's man, that is we, the Homo sapiens, we have more knowledge than the Renaissance man, right? That is what is the comparison made. So it is already mentioned that today's information man is compared with whom? He is compared with the Renaissance man. That is what is the answer given. Correct? The next one. The standing of the modern educated man has been diminished by dash. So let's continue reading the same paragraph. So in the last, sum total of the human knowledge over the later half of the last millennium and the changes in the world technology. Easy access to the information has reduced the stature of the educated individual. All that he can hope to be now is an expert in a narrow field, not the all-knowing polymath of yesteryear. So that is what has been mentioned, that all the changes in the world of technology that has been diminished by easy access to information, right? So the modern educated man has been diminished, it has reduced because of easy access to information. Now moving to the next one, sixth one. The polymath of the Renaissance is described as dash. So what is the polymath described as? It is described as all that he can hope to be now is an expert in a narrow field, not the all-knowing polymath of yesteryear, not the all-knowing. What is he described as? He is described as all-knowing, right? Now the last one. In today's world, people are weighed down by the endless dash. So what are they weighed down? So that is what is being mentioned. It is not surprising to see people weighed down, that is getting overwhelmed, that so much of pressure is there on the humans because of unlimited stream of information, right? So that is ample information is so much that we all are getting overwhelmed because of the excess of information we are getting, right? So endless, that is unlimited, that is what is a synonym used over here, endless, unlimited, and the next wordings are stream of information. That is what is technically also, grammatically also, it sounds correct. Fair enough? So I hope you are confident enough in writing and finding out the answers for the different types of questions we have done so far, and with the regular revisions and the ample of practice which has been provided, right? Okay, that's great. So thank you so much for attending this session. See you in the next session. Bye.